Pocahontas. The name echoes through history, a symbol of peace and understanding between cultures. Yet few know the woman behind the legend. This iconic figure, often romanticized in popular culture, lived a life far more complex and tragic than commonly portrayed. Born around 1596, her true name was Matoaka. Pocahontas was a childhood nickname meaning playful one or little wanton. She was the daughter of Wahunsanaka, the paramount chief of the Powhatan, a powerful Native American confederacy in Tidewater, Virginia. Matoaka's early life remained shrouded in the mists of time, with only glimpses offered through oral histories and the biased lenses of European accounts. However, it's clear that she held a special place within her tribe. As the daughter of the paramount chief, she would have enjoyed a privileged status, yet her life was also intertwined with the responsibilities and expectations of her people. The arrival of English colonists in 1607 dramatically altered the course of Matoaka's life and that of her people. The Powhatan Confederacy, a powerful force in early 17th century Virginia, was made up of over 30 Algonquin-speaking tribes. These tribes were united under the leadership of Chief Powhatan, a formidable leader who managed to create a network of alliances that strengthened their collective power and influence in the region. They occupied the coastal plain and Tidewater region, a land rich in natural resources and teeming with life. This area, with its fertile soil, abundant waterways, and diverse wildlife, provided everything the Powhatan people needed to thrive. The rivers and streams were filled with fish, the forests were home to game, and the land was perfect for growing crops. The Powhatan people were skilled farmers, hunters, and fishers living in a complex society with a deep connection to the natural world. They cultivated crops such as corn, beans, and squash, which were staples of their diet. Hunting and fishing supplemented their agricultural efforts, ensuring a balanced and nutritious food supply. Their expertise in these areas was passed down through generations, creating a rich cultural heritage. Matoaka grew up amidst the bustling life of Werowocomoco, her father's capital village located on the north side of the York River. This village was not just a political center, but also a hub of social and cultural activity. It was here that Matoaka, better known to history as Pocahontas, spent her formative years learning the ways of her people and the responsibilities that came with her lineage. Surrounded by family and her tribe, she learned the customs and traditions of her people. From a young age, she was taught the importance of community, respect for nature, and the skills necessary for daily life. Elders played a crucial role in her education, passing down stories, knowledge, and wisdom that had been accumulated over generations. The Powhatan, like many Native American cultures, held women in high regard. Women were not only the primary caregivers and homemakers, but also played significant roles in the governance and spiritual life of the tribe. They were involved in decision-making processes and were often seen as the keepers of cultural and spiritual knowledge. They played vital roles in agriculture, decision-making, and maintaining the social fabric of their communities. Women were responsible for planting and harvesting crops, ensuring food security for their families. They also participated in councils and had a voice in important matters, reflecting the egalitarian nature of Powhatan society. Life in Werowocomoco was a stark contrast to the struggling English settlement of Jamestown. While the Powhatan village was thriving and self-sufficient, the English settlers faced numerous hardships. The settlers were unprepared for the harsh realities of the New World, and their lack of knowledge about the land and its resources led to severe difficulties. Established in 1607, Jamestown faced numerous challenges, including disease, starvation, and conflict with the Powhatan. The settlers' initial lack of agricultural skills and their dependence on supplies from England made their survival precarious. Additionally, their encroachment on Powhatan lands led to tensions and violent clashes. The relationship between the two groups was tenuous at best, marked by periods of both trade and violence. While there were moments of cooperation and mutual benefit, such as the exchange of goods and knowledge, these were often overshadowed by mistrust and conflict. The cultural differences and competing interests made peaceful coexistence difficult. Matoaka, still a young girl, would have witnessed the growing tensions firsthand. She saw the impact of these conflicts on her people and the strain it placed on their way of life. These experiences would shape her understanding of the world and her role within it. Little did she know that she would soon be thrust into the center of this volatile relationship, becoming a pivotal figure in the early interactions between the Powhatan and the English. Her actions and decisions would have lasting consequences, influencing the course of history and the future of her people. The arrival of English colonists brought drastic changes to the Chesapeake Bay region. The serene waters and lush landscapes that had been home to the Powhatan Confederacy for generations were now the backdrop for a new chapter in history. The colonists, driven by dreams of prosperity and new beginnings, saw this land as a place of endless opportunity. The colonists, seeking land and wealth, encroached upon Powhatan territory, disrupting traditional hunting grounds and farming practices. The Powhatan people, who had lived in harmony with the land, found their way of life under threat. Fields that once grew maize and beans were now being tilled by foreign hands, and forests that provided game were being cleared for settlements. Cultural misunderstandings and mistrust fueled tensions between the two groups. The Powhatan and the English had vastly different worldviews and ways of life, leading to frequent clashes. The English, with their rigid social structures and land ownership concepts, often failed to understand the communal and spiritual connections the Powhatan had with their environment. Captain John Smith, a prominent figure in Jamestown's early history, played a significant role in these interactions. Known for his leadership and adventurous spirit, Smith's encounters with the Powhatan were both contentious and cooperative. His writings provide a window into the early days of the colony, though they are often colored by his own perspectives and biases. Accounts from the period, written primarily from the English perspective, describe Pocahontas as intervening in a dramatic event to save Smith's life. This story, immortalized in countless retellings, paints Pocahontas as a heroine who bridged the gap between two worlds. However, it is important to remember that these accounts were crafted by those who had their own agendas and interpretations. According to Smith, he was captured by the Powhatan and brought before Chief Powhatan. This encounter, as described by Smith, was a pivotal moment in his life and in the history of the colony. The tension and uncertainty of this meeting highlight the fragile nature of early colonial and Native American relations. As Smith was about to be executed, Pocahontas supposedly threw herself over him, pleading for his life. This act of bravery, whether myth or reality, has become a symbol of the complex and often misunderstood relationship between the Powhatan and the English settlers. While the veracity of this account has been questioned by historians, it underscores the complex relationship between Pocahontas and the English colonists. Scholars continue to debate the accuracy of Smith's narrative, suggesting that it may have been embellished or misinterpreted over time. Nonetheless, the story remains a powerful testament to the interactions between these two cultures. Whether or not the rescue actually happened as described, Pocahontas did play a role as a cultural intermediary between the two groups. Her unique position allowed her to navigate the delicate balance between her own people and the newcomers. She became a symbol of peace and understanding, even as tensions continued to simmer. As a young girl, she visited Jamestown, bringing food and messages, helping to foster communication and at times prevent conflict. Her actions provided a lifeline to the struggling colonists, who often faced starvation and hardship. Through her efforts, she helped to create moments of cooperation and mutual benefit. Her presence served as a bridge between two cultures struggling to coexist in a rapidly changing world. Pocahontas's legacy is one of resilience and adaptability, embodying the hope that understanding and collaboration can prevail even in the face of profound differences. Her story continues to inspire and remind us of the importance of empathy and connection across cultural divides. The uneasy peace between the Powhatan and the Jamestown colonists was short-lived. The initial interactions, which were marked by cautious cooperation and mutual curiosity, soon gave way to suspicion and conflict. As the English colony expanded its footprint, competition for resources and land intensified. The settlers' relentless push into Powhatan territory disrupted the delicate balance that had been established, leading to increased tensions and skirmishes. In 1613, Captain Samuel Argall, seeking leverage over the Powhatan, devised a plan to capture Pocahontas. Argall, a shrewd and ambitious leader, saw an opportunity to use Pocahontas as a pawn in the larger game of colonial expansion and control. Lured aboard an English ship under false pretenses, Pocahontas was taken hostage. The young woman, who had once been a symbol of peace and diplomacy, now found herself at the center of a dangerous power struggle. Her capture sent shockwaves through both communities. The Powhatan were outraged and heartbroken, while the English settlers were anxious and uncertain about the consequences of this bold move. For the Powhatan, she represented a valuable link to their ancestral lands and a symbol of their power. Her abduction was not just a personal loss, but a profound political blow that threatened the stability of their society. For the English, she became a bargaining chip in their dealings with the powerful Powhatan chiefdom. They hoped to use her captivity to force the Powhatan into submission, to secure more land and resources for their growing colony. Held captive in Henricus, a new English settlement, Pocahontas experienced a drastic shift in her world. The once free-spirited daughter of a powerful chief was now confined within the walls of a foreign settlement, surrounded by unfamiliar faces and customs. Separated from her family and her people, she was thrust into an unfamiliar environment, surrounded by the very people who now held her captive. The isolation and cultural dissonance she faced were profound, yet she managed to find ways to adapt and survive. Despite the trauma of her capture, Pocahontas demonstrated remarkable resilience. Her strength and adaptability became evident as she navigated the complexities of her new life, finding ways to maintain her dignity and identity. She adapted to her new surroundings and began learning English language and customs. This cultural exchange, though forced, allowed her to bridge the gap between her world and that of her captors, creating a unique space for dialogue and understanding. While some historians argue that she was treated with a degree of respect, her captivity remained a strategic move by the English, a way to exert pressure on her father and extract concessions from the Powhatan. The complexities of her situation highlight the intricate interplay of power, culture, and survival in the early days of American colonization. During her captivity, Pocahontas encountered Christianity, a religion vastly different from the spiritual beliefs of her people. The English colonists, devout in their faith, viewed her conversion as a symbolic victory, a sign of God's favor on their endeavors in the New World. While some historians debate the sincerity of her conversion, Pocahontas embraced Christianity and was baptized under the name Rebecca. This act held significant implications for both the Powhatan and the English. For the English, it represented a triumph of their culture and religion. For the Powhatan, it could be seen as a strategic move by Pocahontas, a way to navigate the complexities of her captivity and potentially secure her release. Pocahontas's conversion had a profound impact on her life, leading to her marriage to John Rolfe, an English tobacco planter. This union, a pivotal event in early colonial history, held both political and personal significance. It symbolized a fragile peace between the Powhatan and the English, a moment of hope amidst a backdrop of ongoing tension and conflict. Thank you so much for watching this episode of History Uncovered. I hope you enjoyed diving into the past with us. If you liked what you saw and want to stay updated on all things history, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Your support helps us keep bringing you more fascinating stories from history. See you in the next video.